When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes is the answer. Now, here is the host of The Long Bearded Guy, the Chief Catalyst, Strategist Guide at Jewel International, Gordon D Melville.
Hey everybody, welcome to the last show of 2022. I'm so excited that there's so many things coming on the horizon. You're with Gordon D Melville, the Long Bearded Guy on Inspired Choices Network, and today we're going to talk about last year's words belonging to last year's language. Last year's words belong in last year's language. So as we're thinking about going into the next year, we're thinking about, okay, what are the things that we've learned this year? What are the things that we're taking with us? What are the things that that grew us and moved us and whatnot? But we're growing all the time. We're growing every day. We're growing and growing and expanding. So some of the things that we used in 2022, we're growing out of into 2023. And we want to explore that today. So last year's words belonging to last year's language. Thank you for being here. Welcome to everybody. Whether you're watching live at the moment, you're watching, you're getting the chat room. If you're here, if you're listening, if you can get in the chat room and as soon as you get in, my producer will give you a link to get into the live studio audience if you want to be watch this live, if you can do that. I know there's a lot of people watching and listening, and especially listening because they're traveling or they're in their car or they're online or whatnot, and they don't have access to to be able to watch live, but they're listening on the radio. So I promised I got a new mug with a little bit of that's a little bit of yoga stuff without the eye, the yoga hand, and it's got some texture to it. It's very cool. But I got it for Christmas from a very special friend, so thank you so much. And I told her I'd be using it on the show today, so it's here. I'm using it. It's very nice. So thank you so much. If you can get in and find us on Google TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, there's so many ways to get in. iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to your things, by all means, jump in and let me know you're here. If you can get into the chat, jump in the chat, say hi, let me know where you're listening from. And thank you so much for the people that are reaching out. I can't do this without my sponsors, so I appreciate them. But I also can't do this without an audience. And so I really appreciate you showing up and spending time with me. This is I look forward to this hour with you all every week. I look forward to doing the prep to get the show together and ready. And there's so many different things. Please, if you've heard me before, you've listened to some of my other podcasts and some of my other shows, you know that my mission is to have a meaningful connection with more than 10 million men globally in the next 24 months. People ask what do you do, and I was working with one of my coaches this past week, and we came up with he said, Gord, you're the king of EQ, and somebody said, okay, what's EQ? Well, that's your emotional quotient, but I am the king of EQ. I teach emotional quotient. What do? I work with men. I 7 levels of emotional intelligence for men is the book. So there's lots of different things happening, but you know what? Like, love, share, subscribe to the channel. Inspired Choices Network is a free download, and download it. There's lots of hosts. There's lots of amazing content. There's some incredible hosts, new people, and people that have been there for a better part of a decade or more, doing shows week after week after week after week. There's some incredible content. So get onto Inspired Choices Network, wherever you listen to your podcast, TV shows, or live radio, and connect with us. All right, let's get after it. And I don't know if you've caught that yet, but I'm a little bit excited and I'm a little bit energized and I'm a little bit wound up. So I'll try to pause and breathe and ground myself. So let's get after it. So in the first piece here, what's the definition of the words and phrases? And as I leave this piece, we want to talk about the words and the language, where the words from 2022 belong in the language of 2022. But I want to look just real quick in a conversation. If you're belly to belly with somebody, what I mean by that is live, which is a weird thing considering COVID and everybody's been on Zoom. But live, how much of the conversation are the words that we use? There's three components. I hope you've got your journal, and I hope you're writing this stuff down, because there's some really, really good stuff in here. There's three components of a conversation live. One is words, one is tone, and one is body language. Okay? Words, tone, and body language. But what percentage of the conversation are the words we're using? What percentage of the conversation is the tone we're using? And what if it is body language? And if you, depending on where you read and where you look and whatnot, there's lots of different, but they're all close to the same. And so I sort of averaged it out and said, you know what? Only 10% of what the live conversation, only 10% is based out of the words we're using. And I've seen things that go as low as 7% of a conversation are the words we're using. About 50% is the tone. So the way we say it, right? In Sister Act, at the end, when she's leaving and her gangster boyfriend is leaving and he's being yucky and nasty to her, and she's like, bless you. The words were right. She was in a nun's habit. So the words were right, but it was the tone that gave you the implication of, hey, this is what she really meant by that. So about 10% words, about 50%, approximately 50% tone. And then the other 40% obviously is the body language we use. So you find people sometimes, especially salespeople or people that are on the phone a lot, you find a lot of times, and as guys, we know, and most people don't want to be scripted. They don't want to learn word track. They don't want to sound canned. They don't want to learn it well enough to make it part of who they are and part of their DNA. So the words they're using is about 10%. The tone, most men have a negative tone to their voice, whether they mean to or not. A lot of the times we don't even mean to. It's just the way that deeper registers and whatnot. It comes out as a negative sound. And obviously, if we're on the phone or on Zoom or whatnot, obviously we lose the body language to the greatest degree, because unless you're like me, where we talk with our hands and we're gregarious with our hands and our body, even on a Zoom, that means you take the body language away. So that's 40% gone. You take the tone away, that's 50%. And we don't learn the right thing to say. So consequently, most salespeople suck on the phone because they're not paying attention to the things that matter. So what we want to talk about today, what is the definition, words and language of what do we mean when we say words? What am I talking about when I say words today? And I wrote it down because I never want to mess it up. So words are the smallest unit of language that has a particular meaning and can be expressed by itself, is a word, right? So you get one letter words, I, you get two letter words, me, you get three letter words, you, again, pronouns. But point is, you can get some really, really, really small words, and then you get some massive, massive big words. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. There's some big, big, massive words, right? Multiple syllable words. So then what's the difference between words and language? And what do I mean when I say the words that came in 2022 belong to the language of 2022? What's the language? The language is the body of words and set of methods of combining them, called grammar, understood by a community and used as one form of communication. So that 7%, 10% words creates the language. So we're going to build through this episode. We're going to talk about some of the different bits and pieces, but they're all going to build on each other. So we use the words to create the language. The thing is, and what a lot of us forget, is that the words and the language we use carry a lot of weight, more weight than a lot of times we would like them to. They have impact in ways we hadn't anticipated. So somebody like, I don't know, the president of the United States when that person says something, the weight of the office adds weight to the words they're using, meaning they have a deeper impact on you, a more significant impact. Why? Because of where they come from. Same thing with our doctor. Most people don't question when the doctor says, hey, this is what's going on. We may say, hey, I want a second or third opinion, but their words have weight. Why? Because of their position. So the words give you the language, adds weight. So words have weight and power to lift up or tear down, to build up and encourage, or decimate and destroy. And we can choose what that's going to be. We can choose whether we lift up and encourage with our choice of words, and as parents, we do it all the time, wildly careful about what we say to the kids. Why? Because we're their parent. If you go back and listen to my episodes 2, 3, and 4, called Foundations and Variation of. It was those first 3 episodes. The first one was that, but 2, 3, and 4 are foundations. Our parents and our teachers and church people and the adults in our life signed off on the paradigms. They gave permission to have those things built into us. Their words had weight. Why? They're our parent. A lot of us don't even question that. And I'm not saying you should. I'm saying, you know what? There's bits and pieces as we get older, we start to question some of the things we were taught. Money doesn't grow on trees. Well, it's paper. In some ways, it grew on a tree. That's lack thinking. That's lack going, you know what? There's not enough. There's trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. There's an abundance of it. But how do I get it? How do we get it? Well, that's a different question. That's a different conversation. That's a different set of words and language. But the weight of that is coming. We don't question it because mom and dad said that's what it was. So words have weight and power to lift up or tear down, to build up and encourage, or to decimate and destroy. We choose that. That's on us. The words and language we use. And again, some of that comes from what we believe and what we listen to. Some people say, well, and I've heard statistically, the more genius people tend to swear more than anybody else. Some people, well, I don't know about that. And I've heard people go the other way, and you can play both sides of that equation. I hear other people say, well, no. Find other ways, because the lowest common denominator is just, I don't know any other way to say it. I don't know another word, so I'm going to cuss. And there are some very versatile cuss words out there. Very versatile cuss words. But are there other ways to talk? Yes. And it depends on what my audience is. It depends on what our audience is. Who's listening? Who are we talking to? I'm going to use a different set of words and language with my children than I do on my Zoom call or on my show or with a client. If I'm talking in front of a group of people, I'm going to use a different set of words and language. Why? Because the audience is different. I'm trying to put across a different idea. So the words and language we use, we're going to dig into this a little deeper, and I'm going to connect those dots in the next segment. So, but understand the base of that. The words we use on individual combined makes the language we use. And as we grow, our language changes. We don't talk the way we did when we were 2 or 3 years old. Right? We've matured with our language. They're not 1-syllable words anymore. They're 2 and 3 and 4-syllable. Why? Because as we grow and mature, our vocabulary expands. We learn some more things. We understand bigger concepts. We're looking at all those things together. So just before I gotta take a quick break, but before I run, I want to shout out to 2 of my founding sponsor partners, which I'm looking for some more of those, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the first one, I appreciate them so much. I can't do this without them. Jose Escobar is the founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Incredible human being, brother, mentor. But check out the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf to learn more about his morning and evening mastery routine program that's changing people's lives, literally. This program will help you install systems on the bookends of your day to maximize your morning and evening routine. If you don't have a morning and evening routine, you know what? Going into 2023, great idea. Reach out to him, set up your free strategy session with Jose Escobar today. And you can reach him at the www.theentrepreneur'sbookshelf.com. And the second one is my sponsor, Kat Schwarz, is the founder and CEO of a groundbreaking company called Compassionate Healing Services, and offers a completely unique approach to treating physical and mental health challenges. Incredible lady, very powerful service. Check her out on Instagram at Compassionate Healing Services, or email her at info@compassionatehealingservices.com. Incredible. Just a quick thing for reach out to her. Kat is an unbelievable talent, and she's got such a gift when it comes to what she does. So reach out to her. But I also want to just say a quick shout out to my other founding sponsor partners. It's the last show of 2022. I want to just by name read Dr. Oliver Reed, obviously Jose Escobar we talked about already, Jeff May, Lee Grigsby, Edward Reed, Mrs. Kirkpatrick, Kathleen Kat Schwarz we talk about, Austin Haynes, Jim Hetherington, and Carolyn Scott. I can't do this without them. So you know what? I appreciate them so much. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back in just a second. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. Don't go anywhere.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to the longbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me. I really appreciate that. We're talking about last year's words belonging to last year's language. So the words we've used in 2022 need to stay. Some of that stuff needs to stay in 2022. We're growing beyond that. We're maturing beyond that from day to day to day. So you're not the same as you were yesterday. You're not the same person you were yesterday. You've grown. Some of the things as we think about going into, as we think about going into the next year, we need to think about, hey, what did I learn? What were the words from 2022 that need to stay in 2022, that belong to the language of 2022? And I hope during the break, and I didn't mention it before the break, but don't forget to pause and breathe, especially with New Year's Eve's coming. Some people will party, whatnot. It's so funny. I get to a point where I'm getting to an age, or I'm at an age. I shouldn't say getting to an age. I'm at an age where We were asleep by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. A lot of times we don't even see, we'll set an alarm for 5 to 12. And my wife and I will wake up, hey, Happy New Year. And you give her a quick kiss and you're back to sleep again. That whole deal of partying like it's 1999 has gone by the way of the dodo bird, because a lot of times when we party that hard, I don't party almost ever anymore, but it wipes you out for a week. It's not something that you can do the way you did when you were 22. Anyway, point is, we're growing and maturing. So a concept that that book right there, one word, had put in my brain, and the other book that's there is Life Word. We're going to talk about that in this segment. Lots of us do a thing where we pick one word for our year. So we focus, what's the one word we're going to use to focus all year on that one word, on that one concept for the whole year. So you pick a word that resonates with you that you want to focus on for the year. And so for me in 2022, it was my health, because I haven't been well for better part of 7 years. I've been trying to make that better and figure out ways to if it's not going to go away, how do I heal myself? And so there's been a lot of healing that's gone on in 2022. Health has been my word for the whole year. But again, 2022's word, health, for me, belongs to the 2022 language. That means as I go into 2023, I'm going to have a new word. Life, so that's one word is your year to year to year to year. So every year you have a different word. Life Word, the blue one, and I highly recommend both those books. That's John Gordon, Dan Britton, and Jimmy Page. One word that will change your life. And they're just little books. You can read them in about half an hour, an hour. They're just little books, but very impactful. So being able to come up with one word that is going to help define your year, that you're going to focus on for the year. The blue book, Life Word, is the word you would put on your tombstone. That would define your life. What's that word? Start with this year's. Start with 2022. What's your word going to be? Where's your focus going to be for 2023? We all sort of laugh about New Year's resolutions, that people make them on New Year's Eve, and a lot of times I'm going to release weight. I'm going to release weight, and they go out and there's a mass joining of gyms the first week of January. But by the end of February, there's nobody in the gym anymore. By mid-February, there's nobody in the gym. Matter of fact, if everybody showed up at the gym that had memberships in a gym, there wouldn't be room to move. There wouldn't be room to use the equipment because there would be so many people. What happened? They lost track. They lost focus on what their word was. Lots of them don't have a word. So where is your focus going to be in 2023? Have you spent any time thinking about it? You've got a couple days, not even a day, 48 hours, not even, to think about that. My word, and I'll share that with you, my word for 2023 is Quan. And what I mean by that is, it's a Jerry Maguire. If you've seen Jerry Maguire, you completely understand the word. So a lot of us look at the dollars and cents of it all, and I've always said the dollars and cents, the financials, are a byproduct of the value you bring to the market. It's a byproduct. It's not something you focus on. If you chase the dollars, they'll run from you. So it becomes how do I provide enough value? People go, I don't make enough. Well, are you providing value at a level that would be commensurate with what you think you deserve or need or want? That might be a gut check moment. Maybe I'm not bringing, and if you're not making what you think you should be making, are you bringing the value? Because if you are, then I encourage you, stick with that. because it'll come. It's not instant, but it will come. So Quan is not just a coin. It's not just the financial reward of it. It's all the other things. And you've heard me talk lots about abundance, living abundantly in a positive way. Somebody said to me just recently, hey, what about if you're asking for abundance in every way? You could get abundance of bad things. You could get abundance of bad health, abundance of not good stuff. But when I say abundance, when Papa says he wants us to live abundantly in a positive way, abundantly positive cash flow, abundantly with our relationships in a great way. So Quan is all the bits and pieces together. The lifestyle, not just the financial piece of it all. My relationships, are they abundant? Are they full-bodied? Are they fulfilling? Are the bits and pieces, is my health where I want it to be? Is my spirituality where I want it to be? Is my fitness where I want it to be? The goal for 2023 for me in terms of Quan is bringing all the things I've started to get going in 2022, including my live radio show, podcast, and TV show. I want to expand that. I want to be abundant. I want the Quan of it. I want not just the dollars and cents, although that's an important part. It keeps, the bills paid and the kids saying hi and connecting once in a while. But I that's not the only piece. I need all these other things. I'm at a point where if it doesn't light me up, I don't want to do it. If it doesn't touch my soul, I don't want to do it. Are you in that space? Does that resonate with you? Lots of people are chasing their tail all over the place and they're not fulfilled. Matter of fact, I know lots of people that make ridiculous amounts of money that aren't fulfilled. They don't have the Quan. They don't have that fulfillment and abundance in all areas of their life. You need examples of that? It's not far. You don't have to look far to find people that have lots of money and lots of perceived from outside, perceived perfect life. But there's stuff missing that they may or may not share with anybody else. Again, Twitch comes to mind. Yeah, the world. Something was missing inside. Something was missing. And that's where my heart is. That's where my soul is. That's my mission. That's the whole concept of King of EQ. Why? Because that emotional quotient is almost more important than your IQ. It doesn't matter what you know or how smart you are. Connection with people requires emotional quotient, emotional intelligence. I got to take another quick break. I hope this is resonating with you. And you know what? It's the last show of 2022. And you know what? This has been such an amazing blessing to me sharing with you. Spending that hour every week with you all live and doing the prep that I need to do for me to make sure I'm prepared the way I need to be or where I feel I need to be. It's important. It's such an abundant blessing for me. And I can't say enough strong things about that. So quick shout outs. Kat Schwarz, incredible lady, owner and founder at Compassionate Healing Services. And if you email her at info@compassionatehealingservices.com and mention the long bearded guy, you'll receive 20% off one service. That's a $100 savings off her most unique offering, which is spiritual private investigation services. And Kat will use her skills as an evidential medium to reconnect you with a loved one who crossed over and provide proof of their continued presence in your life, because there's no energy created or destroyed, right? That means they're still here. Email her at info@compassionatehealingservices.com. Mention the long bearded guy. You'll get a 20% discount. The other one I want to point out or talk about is Jose Escobar, founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Check out the Connected Leaders Academy, the CLA membership. which will take your business to the next level and multiple levels. If you want to just level up one, they'll do that. But if you want to level up a bunch, you're a successful entrepreneur. This is the perfect tribe to learn, grow, and connect like never before. The Connected Leaders Academy tribe brings together some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. Set up a virtual coffee with Jose Escobar today. And again, you can reach him at www.theentrepreneur'sbookshelf.com. Incredible, again, brother, friend, and mentor. He's been amazing. The tribe is family is unbelievable. And again, he always talks about, Jose talks about rising tide raises all ships. We're the average of the 5 people we spend the most amount of time with. You want your life to improve? You need to spend it with some other people. Look around yourself in 2022. Maybe that's your deal in 2022. Hey, I got to surround myself with a different caliber of human. You want to be a millionaire? How many millionaires are around you? Do you spend a lot of time with them or no? You want to be fit? Do you hang around with people that are fit? Something to think about. So as we go to break, don't go anywhere. The next piece is very cool. But yeah, stick with me. You're with the long bearded guy, Gordon D Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. See ya. Be right back.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, thank you for sticking with. Let's continue to talk about last year's words belonging to last year's language. What with the language and the words we use in 2022, that intention stays in 2022 because we're growing. We want to talk just real quick. Are we growing? I don't know. You can answer that question. Write it in your journal. Are you growing organically or with intention? On purpose, or it's just kind of happening willy-nilly wherever it can? Because it'll find a way. But is it intentional? Is it where you want to go? Or is it just happening? A lot of times we just let it happen. When I was on the road with Grant Cardone, we're doing training and consulting with people and teaching them. And I would have people look at me and go, Gord, I've been selling cars for, I've got, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years of experience. And I would like, wow, you know what? Congratulations. That's a long time to be in that industry. That's a long time. That's an eternity, multiple lifetimes. It's rare to see people stick that long. But I would say to them, great, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. That's awesome. How many cars a month do you sell? Well, I sell, 10, 12. And I would look at them and go, after 30 years, you only sell 10 to 12 cars a month. Yes. Great. I said, with all due respect, you don't have 20 or 25, 30 years of experience. What you have is 1 year that you've duplicated 24, 19, or 29 times. Why? Because if you've been in business that long, if you're not growing, the time's happening anyway. And we need to look at our goals that way. We have to look at our definite major purposes that way. The next 6 months, the next year, 2023 is going to happen. The time is going to elapse 24 hours a day, 86,400 seconds in a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks in a month, mostly, right? For 12 months. That time is going to happen anyway. And Papa said, are we insured if we see January 1st? Will we see December 31st? No. But all things being equal and Papa willing, we're going to get to December 31st. The time is going to happen. It doesn't stop for anybody. What are you doing with that time? Are you spending it? Are you killing it? Are you wasting it? Or are you investing your time into things that will matter, into things that have weight, into concepts and people? We all talk about legacy, and this was another show. Go back and find it. It was 1 or 2 back. Legacy. We think of it as end of life. It's not. Legacy is just what you've poured into other people. What stays of you in other people. Well, that happens every day. Are we aware of that? Are we intentional about what? And it doesn't even have to be a conversation. You've heard me tell the story about the young man walking 10 blocks home to work and back, and had made a pact with himself, I'm going to end myself when I come home if nobody smiles at me. The gentleman that smiled at him on the way home, it wasn't a long, drawn-out relationship. They didn't even speak. It was a smile. That's legacy that gentleman poured into that young man. And he'll never know that he had that kind of a legacy. He saved a guy's life, and he'll never know. By the way, and I talk about it on that show. So go back and look at that episode, listen to that episode, because a lot of times it's not just a ripple. We're not making ripples in other people's lives. We're making waves in their life. And in that instance, with that particular young man, it was a tsunami in that guy's life. It wasn't some little thing that just sort of happened. That smile completely revolutionized that young man's life. Why? Because he was going to end himself when he got home. That means everything that happened after that in that young man's life wouldn't have happened if that gentleman hadn't smiled at him that day. Let that sink in, or write it down, or are you paying attention to what your legacy is day in, day out, day in? What do you want your 2023 legacy to be? What do you want people? I could tell you and run down a bunch of different people this year. How many different things have happened? There's been thing after thing after thing. We come out of COVID and it seems like forever ago, and it's not. Some of the and whether you're pro-vax, none of that. What I'm saying is some of that was only authorized, FDA approved in January of this year, February of this year. All the different things that have happened this year. What legacy, if I don't make it to January 1st, what legacy have I poured into people in 2022? My long bearded guy, live radio show, podcast, and TV show on more than 450 platforms globally. What is that poured into people? What is the legacy I've left in 2023? Am I happy with that? Not happy with that? Is it what it should have been? Is it positive? Is it negative? Think about it. Why? Because 2023 is coming, folks. It's less than a couple of days away. Hours left in 2022. But if you start into 2023 with the intention, I'm going to leave a positive, impactful legacy every day in 2023. I'm going to be aware of what I'm interacting with people, smiling at them in the mall or smiling at them on the street. Or if you work in a restaurant, you're smiling with your customers. Why? Because that smile could be life-saving. That's legacy we're pouring into the people in our lives, our kids and our friends and our family and our colleagues and everybody. I want someone to look back and say, you know what? I had a better life. I had more positive. I had benefit in a positive way somehow because I interacted with Gordon Melville at some point. I want people to look back. I don't need to know that that's happened. But that only happens if I'm aware of the impact I'm having on people around me. We have no idea the impact we're having, the words we're using, and the language we use. It's our choice what we say and the language we use. The impact is legacy. Massive, massive, important. And I don't want it to be all this massive serious and I got to be all the time thinking. No, but you know what? If I choose it over and over and over, I'm gonna exercise that muscle. It's like working out, right? When I went to the gym the first time, that's years and years ago, and I don't go anymore. Just thinking about it wears me out. I get winded playing tiddlywinks. But I sat in a rocking chair last week. I know I'm getting old. I sat in a rocking chair last week, couldn't get it going. And yes, it's a joke. But my point is, when I went to the gym, I sat down with the trainer and he went all the different, and it was about 50, 60 pounds on almost everything. But I sat down to do a shoulder press, if you know what that is. And he dropped the pin right to the bottom. It was like 15 pounds. And I'm like, what the heck? Well, the rest of them were all at 50, 60 pounds. Why is this one so low? And he goes, well, try. And I sat down. It was like, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the weight up. Why? Because the shoulder, 3 heads of your shoulder are one of the weakest, for most people, is one of the weakest muscles in our body, unless we really work it out. How do I make it stronger? I use it and use it and use it and use it and use it. And I could get it up to 50, 60 pounds eventually, but it took some time. Understanding awareness and our intention is a muscle that we want to be able to use because we want to be able to exercise it without thinking. We want to be able to exercise the awareness of what's going on around us. Why? Because that way I'm not thinking about it constantly. Oh, I got to leave legacy. I got to leave a positive. I'm not thinking that anymore. I don't know, show of hands. I don't know how many of you have to think about inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Heart, come on, you got to pump. I need that blood to. We're not thinking that, but it happens. Why? Because those muscles are fine-tuned. Part of our subconscious, it just sort of happens. It happens. I can be aware subconsciously if I exercise that muscle enough. We need to exercise that muscle enough. Be aware. Are we growing intentionally? So that we can leave the words are part of the language from the year. We want to take that. We want to leave that in 2022. I'm going to leave that health thing. Does it mean I stop thinking about my health? No. I'm going to continue to think about that because I'm still not healthy. There's still things I'm going on. But you know what? My focus is going to be how do I dial in what I've learned in 2022 to expand that into not just my health, but in all the other bits and pieces of my life. I want Quan in 2023. I want lifestyle. I want choice. And there's some massive things going on in our life that are going to change huge in 2023. Personally, And you know what? That's fine. The only thing that never changes is that everything changes. So it's coming, but it's going to be a choice. We're going to choose. I'm going to choose the words and language I use in 2023 to make as big of an positive impact as I can. Tsunami and waves through the whole year. Every day, every day, every day. I get very passionate about it, and I hope that's okay. And I hope, and if you know what, if you're listening to me and you keep showing up, you know what, I appreciate that you do, and I hope and pray that you feel my heart and that it's making a positive impact. And if it does, you know what, please reach out to me. Please share that. And you know what, as we go into this next break, real quick, you know what, I'm expanding and growing. If this message resonates with you, 10 million men in 24 months resonates with you, teaching emotional intelligence impacts you in a positive way, or you've got people around you that you want to hear this message or that need to hear this message. My avatar is entrepreneurial men, but men in general. And I'll talk to anybody and I coach with everybody, but you know what? I have a real heart for men. Why? I'm an entrepreneurial man. But our emotional our quotient, our emotional intelligence a lot of times isn't what it needs to be able to get ahead of where we want to go. So if you want me to come and speak to your group, your church, your company, reach out. I've got 7 steps to emotional intelligence for men is something I talk about a lot. One of the topics I talk about. I do a lot of mindset and a lot of energy. Why? Because it's so key to what's going on in our life and we're not aware of it. A lot of times we don't understand the rules to the game. And so it makes it very difficult to be able to win. As we go to this break, don't forget to pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. Ground yourself. Energize yourself. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna wrap it up, and I've got a really, really cool call to action for you. So yeah, you're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. Don't go anyplace, stick around.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Long-Bearded Guy with Gordon D Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I want to just wrap because we only have a few minutes left, but we can look at this year from 2022 and talk about the words. The last year's words belong to last year's language is the title of our talk today, this episode. But we can look right back to the beginning. And I wrote some things down, just highlights that came across. We can look, Moderna, the C-19 vax came in January. War breaking out in Ukraine was in February. And it could be argued it started well before that, but officially. The Musk Twitter fiasco started and came in April. Buy it, don't buy it, don't buy it, don't buy it, get sued, buy it, all that crap happened in April. Uvalde, the massacre of the kids and the teachers was in May. The largest Powerball win in history was in November, $2.04 billion. Wow. Awesome. Finland and Sweden joined NATO in 2022. Historic stuff. Brittany Griner, basketball star, was released from Russian jail just recently. Live concerts in a huge way. COVID, the restrictions lifted, people can get together again. And people are massive joining, massive buying lots of stuff. Why? And when I say that, I mean tickets and going to concerts. And why? Because they have sporting events, because they haven't been able to do it in forever. Dolly Parton joined the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. There's hundreds of things. Pick something, whether it's sports, it's music, it's art, it's movies, it's history, it's news. There's so many things that happened in 2022 that people used words to describe, which provided language to describe the year and the focus for the year. What did you use? What are you taking away from 2022 with you? I'm going to leave that idea with you. What are you using? And the call to action that I hope you're going to do, and you know what? Figure it out and then email it to me, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. What's your word going to be for 2023? What's your intention going to be for 2023? Being able to laser focus it down to one word. Why? And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of that word. It doesn't matter whether it's other people could have the same word. We're all different. We all have a different slant and a way to look at things. Everybody's fingerprint is different. Why? So that you can leave your unique mark on the world. Your journey isn't for anybody else. What you choose to focus on in 2023 is your business. You don't want to share it with me? That's fine. What I'm saying is at least have it. At least have it. I've been shocked as I was thinking about what I wanted my 2023 word to be. The next show is next Friday, January 6th. And we're going to talk about success requires payment in advance. Success requires payment in advance. But January 6th, I will be 6 months in to having a live radio show, podcast, and TV show. 6 months in. Blink. What's the next 6 months going to give me? What's the next 6 months? Because it's going to happen anyway. The time's going to happen anyway. What's my intention? What's my intention? What am I focused on in the next 6 months? And I've got some, we'll talk about it next week. I've got some very exciting things going on in 2023. Already, the momentum is coming. It's already building. There's some amazing momentum happening. There's some amazing things going on. Incredible opportunities to share. Very, very, very excited about that. Not that you can tell I try and hold it inside. But there's some incredible stuff going on. But that's going to feed off of my intention about quant. It's coming. That's what's going to manifest around me. People say, oh, manifest, that doesn't work. Why? It's manifesting, just not the way you want it to. You're bringing in all the negative stuff. Think about it. Come up with a word. Email it to me. Make it another great week. You have the power to do that. It's not whatever happens. Make it. I love you. Massive hugs. Happy New Year. Live abundantly and with intention this week. Come up with your word as you go in. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next week, January 6th. See you next year.
Thank you for tuning into the Long Bearded Guy Show. You are appreciated and loved. Gordon D Melville returns Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, make it another great week, leading with love, powerfully designing, crafting, and living out your positively impactful legacy life you were created for. Big hugs!